What's up, PCS Nation Facebook family? We are on Facebook Live and Twitter Spaces for PCS Out the Window Live, Friday, July 7th, I think, 2023. And the Queen is here. Say hello, Queen Linda.
Hey, everybody.
That's it. Don't get too excited.
Yeah,
Over-enthusiastic.
everybody. It's Jenny and Teresa.
That's all right. They'll be coming in. They'll be coming in flocks on Facebook, because I know Facebook Live feels bad about what happened on Saturday, and they're going to make it up to me tonight, and they're going to let some people.
Not Saturday.
What, a Tuesday?
Tuesday.
What's the
Monday.
difference?
It was July 3rd.
What's
Monday.
the difference? that whole 6-day stretch was like one fucking long day. And it wouldn't stop. It was like, it just wouldn't end. I was goofing around about it, but like, think about it. The next time 4th of July falls on a Wednesday is 2029. So in 2029, 4th of July will be right in the middle of the week, and Americans will be 6 years lazier and more like that, like about 3 days. It's gonna be an 11-day weekend. Nobody's gonna do anything that week. That'd be the week, like if I was Xi Jinping, that'd be the week I invaded the United States. The week of 4th of July in 2029, because it gives them some time to prepare, and we're going to be doing nothing. We're going to be either drinking beer or recovering from drinking beer every day during that whole 11-day stretch. It might even be 13 days, like the Cuban Missile Crisis. It'll be the Chinese 4th of July Chinese missile crisis. They'll probably have their missiles in Cuba by then, like they're planning on. Well, it won't be missiles. It'll be EMP, the electromagnetic pulse technology. And it'll be 2029, and we'll be either all burger or beer intoxicated or recovering, or at work against our will and annoyed. And everybody will be off their guard, and China will invade us. That's my Nostradamus-like prediction of the night.
Yeah. It'll start with the weekend. It'll go that whole week of the 4th of July, and it'll go through the next weekend.
Because what are you going to do? You got the weekend ahead of it. And when are you going to go back to work on Monday? It's like, all right, this is like one of those 2 weekends has to be like the official 3-day weekend. And nobody will be able to decide which one. So half the country will do one, half the country will do the other. Then you get the 3-day weekend. Then you go to bed. You're going to go back to work Monday. That's going to be a fucking waste of time. And then Tuesday's like, all right, we're getting ready for. You know what I mean? I don't have to go through it over and over again. And it's probably just bullshit. It's not going to happen anyway. So I'm limping my ass off tonight, as you know already, and a few people know. I turned my ankle really, really badly. That's the most exciting thing I have to tell you tonight, folks. We shouldn't even really do that.
You know, twice I turned my ankle, well, twice that I can remember, I turned my ankle that should have resulted in a quite painful several hours after, and I never felt a thing. Like it never...
Yeah.
Like I twisted it, and it didn't hurt. So I don't know if I've got some kind of hyper-extensive joint down there, or maybe I don't have any joint down there. I don't know.
I got that to some extent, and even worse than that, it's like I got a really high pain tolerance. So when something's hurting me, it's bad. Like and like I don't think this is a break, but it didn't swell up or like discolor or anything, and I've seen that happen. Man, Kevin wrecked his foot in the middle of a race one time, and he got to the finish line. This is when he was a freshman. Got to the finish line and took his shoe off, and his foot was black. So like this isn't like that, but like I stepped in his pothole and I twisted it to the outside. It's the left foot, and I started dipping to the left. Like you twist it, like the foot twists in. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
And then you catch your balance on the other foot, and then you got to plant the other foot to fully catch your balance. And then when I planted the foot in question the second time, it hit another pothole and did the same exact thing. It was like, ah. And then I just kept going, like, this should hurt. Like, this should fucking hurt. And it didn't. And I'm like, boy, I just, like I said to you before, like, I dodged a bullet. And I kept walking like it was early. This happened exactly, I said it on the other video, like exactly when I was taking that picture about my freaking debacle of going for McDonald's breakfast this morning. That's when this happened. And then I walked around for like 3 hours, and it was nothing, not a thing. And I ended up at the library because I had to do some work on a computer. And I sat there for like an hour not moving. And when I went to get up, it was just unbearable. And then it was like a 3/4 mile walk home. It took me like a half hour because I just couldn't even walk.
Yeah.
So I got up the stairs and like in a chair, and I put a little THC on it, and I just been stretching it and rolling it like the same way I rolled it to kind of make it hurt, and then just eat the pain and just keep doing that and just keep taking it until the pain fucking gives up and stops trying to hurt anymore. And then it's okay. And I think, like, I walked to get food tonight and got back, and it's not too bad right now. But like I said to you before, I think tomorrow's going to be rough, getting things rolling in the morning after I sleep on it and don't move for a couple hours. We'll see. You know what else I found out today?
So when you were walking home, limping your way home, like, did people like cross the street to get away from you because you like looked like you were some kind of Phantom of the Opera or something?
What are you trying to say, Linda?
I'm trying to say, like, if I see somebody who's like limping, like possibly they're like ready to pass out, or they're stroking out, or they're
my little brown neighbors
and they're going down. I think I just cross the street and go the other way.
My little brown neighbors didn't care at all.
Okay.
Like, if I went down, they would have tied ropes over me like Gulliver.
Yeah.
But, nobody gave a shit. It wasn't, whatever. Like, I don't want anybody to give a shit. I don't want anybody, like, come and try and help me or anything. Like, I'm adamantly against being helped. If you hadn't figured that out already.
Yeah.
But, no, it's like, I don't want that. Like, I don't want people to care. We're going into a therapy session now. We should stop and think of something else to talk about. No, what I was starting to say before was about the library. I found out something incredibly interesting today. That people go to the public library to use the computers in White Plains, the White Plains Public Library. People go there to use the computers. Now, you can go in. Here's the deal. You have to have a library card, which we went through this a couple weeks. Remember, I got the library card and I was all happy and everything, but I think I probably got stalled like 3 times when I was trying to do that, just like with the McDonald's breakfast. So I got the library card. Now, the thing is, you can get 90 minutes a day, and you're supposed to only get 90 minutes a day. So you go in, they got like 30 or 40 computers, and you just pick one out, and you type your number off your library card into it, hit go, and it clocks you for 90 minutes. At the end of the 90 minutes, you can go up to the desk, to the nice lady behind the counter, the librarian lady, and she'll extend you. She'll give you another 90 minutes if you need it, so that's not a worry. Okay, so that's just the way it works. Like, people just come in, they go up to the thing. If you want to print something, there's a print station. It costs like 15 cents a sheet, whatever. Like, that's how it works if you've never done it. Like, and I'm saying this like I fucking like discovered the lost city of Atlantis by getting a library card. Like, every one of you's been in a library before I have, and you probably know how all this works. So let me shut the fuck up and get to the point of the story. Anyway, it doesn't appear, it was obvious that people in White Plains go to the library and go on the computers for the exclusive purpose of selling drugs. I was at a loss for words. The guy across from me was like doing 8 balls and quarter ounces and stuff like that, and he's making deals online and like mapping where he's got to go to deliver it and shit like that. And then there was a guy next to me who was fighting with his girlfriend on his phone. I don't know why he even needed to be at a computer, much less even in the library at all. But he was arguing out loud with his phone and said nigga like 800 times in like 6 minutes. So between those two things, I forgot all about my foot and I let it stiffen up. And that's, I think, why it hurt. I think if it just kept moving that earlier today, I'd have been all right. But yeah, they're selling drugs out of the White Plains Library. I like felt very conflicted about whether I should say something or not. And to be honest, I was more annoyed about the guy talking on the phone.
That makes a lot of sense.
To go to the library.
On a public computer, it can't be traced.
Everything gets erased.
To them.
Like when I go and I do my downloads and I got to flip the videos like this one from Facebook to YouTube to Substack. I do that. You hit download. It goes into the download folder. But as soon as you log off at your end of your 90 minutes, it erases everything. It's gone. Like, that's just totally gone. Like, if I screwed something up, I'd have to do the whole thing over again because they don't keep anything. So, yeah. Then you got all the mapping right there. Like, if somebody has, like, if there's a certain strain of, like, weed they want, like, you could go on, like, Weed Depot online, I guess, and look it up and see if it's available and you can get it for them. It seems very businesslike. It was just a little surprising to me. I'm like, what the hell, you know? Like, I wouldn't have thought. Like, a library, like, seems like a sacred institution of learning and quiet and not dealing drugs or fighting with your girlfriend on a phone. So they're just not observing traditional library protocol at the White Plains Library. Like, nobody was saying shit. And it's like the noisiest library I've ever been in my life. I'm like, I'm making such an effort to fucking be quiet because that's not easy for me. And everybody else doesn't give a shit. Like, they're just yapping on their phone and selling drugs. I don't know. I'm not happy with the library. Like, I feel like I got to say something, but I don't want to be a little bitch and rat everybody out either. You know?
They probably know.
Okay, but then they should do something. See?
You know what? My sister-in-law works at our public library, so I'm going to ask her if people come in and use their computers to do slightly or blatantly illegal things, so that it's not tied to their home computers.
Yeah. I never thought of that. That might be exactly the explanation for it. You're the best, Linda. What would I do without you? Now I know, and I feel a little bit more comfortable about it. But I'm still torn about ratting anybody out or not. Like, it's fucked up. Like, I'm trying to... And the thing is, like I said, the guy talking to his girlfriend on the phone and fighting was even worse. He was right next to me, and I'm just trying to concentrate. Like, the guy across the way selling cocaine wasn't really bothering me, outside of just like, I don't know, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Moral? Not even morally. Like, it was a little anomaly in my world paradigm. You know what? It's probably not a big deal at all. I should just let it go.
The library is like part of the city government, really. It is.
Yeah.
And so it's like the city government computers are being used to deal drugs.
Yeah.
It's like, why don't you just walk into the police station and use theirs?
That's what I'm saying. Like, do that. Well, that's probably pushing it a little too far, I would think. But yeah, it was kind of weird. This guy wasn't kidding either. He was dealing with some heavy cocaine and whatever else, but ecstasy, I think he said. And the guy on the phone also stank like alcohol, which wasn't fucking nice either. I don't know. I mean, it's like they weren't in the children's library. They weren't. Look, you know what? Would you rather have the guy dealing drugs on a computer across the table from you, or a drag queen? Think about it. This is Biden America 23. Maybe drug dealing on the library computers is just like a natural part of America now. It's sad. That's sad. I don't know. But I know I wasn't happy in the library today. That's all. What else is going on out there? Like, I missed a lot of stuff. I don't know how, but I did. Like, I know how, because I spent an hour and a half listening to this guy curse out his girlfriend. I missed some stuff right there. But it doesn't seem like there's much going on.
You touched on the, Britney Spears.
Yeah.
Getting backhanded.
Britney Spears got knocked the fuck out by some basketball player kid who never even played basketball yet.
Yeah. And she said that she was simply trying to tap him on the shoulder, to get his attention. And it's like, he's 7'5", and she's
kind of tall.
5'4".
Is she only 5'4"?
She was trying to tap him on the shoulder. She must have been reaching up as high as she could.
It's kind of crazy. It doesn't seem like they're taking her seriously either. I get it. She's Britney Spears. She's a little wacky. But, I mean, she seems like a nice enough girl. Like, and you just don't knock people out like that. Like, and they're not reacting to it. Like, the kid, I don't remember his name, and I don't care. But they're reacting to it like, well, we're not sure what happened, and it was, you know how things are, and like, just blowing it off. Like, are you fucking kidding? Like, all right, fine, I don't listen to her music, but I get it that Britney Spears is a huge freaking star with millions and millions of fans. And you just knocked her ass across the room. Your security guard just, like, slapped her in the head and knocked her over. Like, that should be a huge deal. Will Smith with Chris Rock, right? Well, that was on national TV, so I guess it's maybe not an equal comparison, but it just seemed like, all right, fine. All right, I guess she didn't get beat up as bad as Rihanna did either with the lumped up face. I don't know. I feel bad for Britney Spears. Like, I'm not like weepy like that meme guy, but it's fucking weird that it just seems weird to me that a celebrity as big as Britney Spears got knocked across a room by somebody's security guard who hasn't even hit a fucking layup yet, and nobody's making a big deal out of it except your pal Glenn. And I'm not even a Britney Spears fan. Although I gotta tell you, Toxic was a good song.
If they looked at, if you watch the security tape, which I believe has not been made public anywhere, but they said actually Britney Spears gets hit with her own hand.
Really?
Like they must have like whatever they did, they made her hand come, go back, and she was hit in the face with her own hand.
Really?
But still, if I grab your hand and start punching you in the face,
okay, don't do that,
and you end up breaking and your nose gets broken, I can't say that you broke your own nose. I was forcing your hand to punch yourself,
That's like when you're a little kid. Say, I'm not hitting you, you're hitting yourself. Whap. I'm not hitting you, you're hitting yourself. Whap.
Right.
Like doing it to your little brother.
Right.
Or like in my case, my little sister. But, I don't know. I just feel like there should be a little more outrage in society. Like, not like, I don't think we should get like a ribbon or anything like that, but fucking Britney Spears got smacked in the head, whatever. Like, even if it was her own hand by security. Maybe it's because the guy's not a big enough star yet. Maybe it was like LeBron James or like Steph Curry or somebody, and they knocked out Britney Spears. It'd be a different story. She's a weird case. She's such a weird case. Like, you want to like her. Like, I got nothing at all against her, but I seeing how she's all right. Fine. I'm a big like Britain's Got Talent, America's Got Talent. I'll binge watch that shit for hours, like just picking videos out on YouTube and watch it. And I don't know if it was it that or she was on American Idol, which I think it was America's Got Talent, where she was a judge, and she looked like this was during her conservatorship with her father. The whole time, even when she talked, when she judged, when she was watching, she looked like she was so zonked out on drugs, and not like heroin, like prescription drugs. She looked like Simon had to reach over and wipe her chin, like in commercials and stuff like that. She looked so bad. She almost looked like Carmen Electra looked naturally. That's how out of it she looked, as far as like IQ and mentality. So obviously, listen, that woman went through some shit. And for an adult to be under conservatorship, and then you also factor in, okay, fine. If it's an adult that's under conservatorship for that long, am I saying that right, conservatorship?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
For that long, and you're just a nobody, like you work at 7-Eleven, no offense to anybody doing any profession. I'm the last person to talk about that right now. But if you're a nobody, and you're under a conservatorship when you're still an adult, okay, like whatever, it's awkward, and it's just, it feels funny and all, but whatever. When you're like a multi-millionaire, and you have an adult controlling your interests like that, that just automatically just gets nefarious to me. Like there's something, it just doesn't seem like, it seems like best interest kind of shares the stage a little bit with profit or controlling the money. I'm sorry?
Hello.
Hi.
When you're getting married, something.
Who's that?
Go ahead. Well, she was under that married over. So I'm waiting until you're done, but I have something to say about
No,
it.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, well, she was under that conservatorship for years. It was her supposed father.
Right.
And since they have let her off, she's had a couple incidents, but she's holding her own. So she's in this casino for whatever reason. I think she has a residency in Las Vegas.
Okay.
So that 6'6" freakoid from Paris is walking through there that isn't even old enough to drink.
Wait, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt you. He was 7 foot.
Back and say hi.
7'5".
Bodyguard smacked her in the head.
7'5", not 6'6", 7'5".
Yeah, seven and a half foot tall freak from Paris that's only 17 or 18 years old.
Yeah.
That they drafted into the NBA because of his height.
Right.
And probably he got a little basketball skills.
No, he played pro ball in Europe. Like I'm not questioning his abilities. I'm questioning the fact that he hasn't even been on the court yet in the NBA. That's all. But he had pro experience in Europe. I'm sorry.
Why are you in a casino when you're 17?
Yeah, that's right. But I don't know if this took place in a casino or not. I think it might have been.
He's a famous wannabe, whatever.
I feel bad for her, and I felt bad for her the whole time that father was controlling her.
Yeah, that was a shitty situation.
For how many years? She's been out of that conservatorship, and she's had a couple little incidents, but she's maintaining her shit, you know?
Yeah, you know what the thing is, and this is going to sound weird coming from me. As soon as she got out of that conservatorship, like the next day, and almost every day for months, she was posting naked pictures of herself on Instagram. And it's like, all right, see, no, I know, I get it. Look, I like looking at naked chicks just as much as anybody does. But I also understand, like, okay, fine, you know what? You didn't get to be like 21, like a normal 21-year-old. You didn't get to be 16, like a normal 16-year-old, or 25 or whatever. So fine, like, I get that. If you want to take naked pictures of yourself and post them on the internet, listen, that's your own little party, whatever, that's fine. But when you're doing it every single day and you're just coming out of a conservatorship, it's like, okay, maybe there were reasons why this person was under this conservatorship that we just don't know. Like, that doesn't seem to me.
That father of hers was controlling her life, and this was her way of shoving his nose in it.
It could be that. It could be that. But it seemed like her husband was flipping out, too.
Drugs. She, leave the woman alone. She's a woman. She's 40-something. Leave her alone.
Oh, I got nothing. I got nothing negative to say about her. I'm just, I got a little concerned. Like, for whatever. Who gives a shit if I'm concerned about Britney Spears? She doesn't care.
I understand what you're saying.
It's just, she was doing it all the time. Like, her husband was going on.
We haven't even talked about her until this incident. You know what I mean?
No, they were talking about her when she was posting her ass on Instagram every day, but they were goofing on her. Like, yo, look, you should be under control.
It's a little while ago.
Yeah, it's a shitty thing. Like, I feel bad for her.
Leave her alone.
And then they're just letting this thing slide. Like, these people are just like, first of all, little French shit who hasn't done anything yet. It's like one of the biggest friggin' American pop stars in history right there. Just understand the hierarchy here. It's a bunch of bullshit. If this kid gets skates, like his team, this just gets tucked under the rug. I don't care how long it's been since Britney Spears put an album out or whatever. Like, you wouldn't fucking do that to Elvis. You wouldn't do that to like if you ran into whoever your star is.
To me, I'd sue his ass. You know what I mean?
Well, she might. She actually called the police.
Tapped him on the shoulder, and you backhanded me and knocked my ass on the ground. I'd be calling a lawyer.
That would have been a problem. Like, if that was somebody I was with, or if it was me. Well, I wouldn't have done that in the first place, because it's just like, obviously, I wouldn't go approach another person like that.
I wouldn't have either, because I wouldn't give a rat's about. But I'm just saying, that was out of line.
Yeah, they're taking it like it was nothing. They're just kind of like writing it off and blowing it off, and it's going to get swept away. Like, it doesn't look like the police are moving on it. She filed a police report, and they said, I don't know, the story's changing every half hour or whatever. They said immediately after it happened.
The NBA got more money in him than she got. She's worth about $60 million. The NBA is looking at making millions more than that on him.
Yeah, so they said
she's not getting anywhere.
Okay, so they said that right after it happened, like, she was okay. She didn't really get hurt or anything, and she got right up. She walked away, sat down at a table, and the security guard who swung at her went over and sat down at the table with her. And was trying to say, look, you know how it is. You're a celebrity. People come up to you all the time, blah, blah, blah. These things happen. We're sorry. And I think she even said they didn't even really actually apologize. But the guy was, like, talking to her. And she's like, okay. And then he left, and she went and filed a police report. But it doesn't seem like the cops are doing anything. Like, I don't think any charges are... I don't know. Maybe something happened.
Felt intimidated by him and coming up and confronting her again. Like, oh, this is nothing. You shouldn't get upset. It was just a misunderstanding. Yeah. Meanwhile, she got backhanded and knocked on her ass.
I would have, seriously, and this is just me, and maybe the situation I'm in obviously would be a little different than Britney Spears. I just can't help but think that if that happened to me and I went over and sat down at a table and somebody from the other party went and sat down at the table with me, there would have been some check writing on that table to make and then this wouldn't even hit the news. Like 50G.
Yeah, I hear you.
You know, just get that tall, skinny kid over here. Does he know how to write? Okay. Have him sit down and sign this check. I'll fill in the amount. Don't worry about that. And we'll keep this all quiet between us.
Y'all got on you. Throw the cash down. Let me see it.
Yeah, right?
You know?
You're going to this casino. You got cash, right? Or you got chips? Give me your chips.
Yeah. Throw the cash all down on this table and don't hold anything back, or I'm calling the popo.
And I think we'll be okay. Like that would have worked out.
National news.
Like I was doing today. I was negotiating today a new amendment. I don't know if it's going to be an amendment or not. Whatever. I was negotiating with people on Twitter, and I was holding my own, and they were beating up on me a little bit about how the voting age should be 30 instead of 18. Because these fucking idiots are talking about making the voting age 16 again, like a bunch of fucking moo-moos, and which is it's just ridiculous. So I said it should be 30, and people were like, "What? What are you talking about?" Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, "Look, fine, okay, you don't like that, so let's talk." I would negotiate down to as low as 25, and then somebody came back and said, "Okay, I'll take 25 if we put a 65 cap at the end where you don't get to vote anymore after 65." I was like, "Well, I take umbrage with that, and I'm not yet 65, but it's not on my horizon." And the fact is, it's somebody who gets to age 25 or 30, lives a good life, is a good, decent, productive member of society, and earns a right to vote. Shouldn't be stripped of that right just by age, out of hand, just because without, like, okay, I'd be into, like, we could possibly add in some cognitive testing. I don't think that's a terrible idea. When you hit a certain age, maybe you have to take a test. I've been saying that. I used to be a driving instructor, man, if you didn't know that. They should have done that years ago, where when you turn a certain age, you must take a cognitive, not just an eye test, I was a driving instructor. I can't tell you how many students I told exactly what it said on that eye chart. They're going to ask you to read line 4. It's EFZXBQRT. And then you don't even have to see. You don't even have to see to get a driver's license in New York. Absolutely, they should do something like that. But the same thing with the voting. Like, it could be the same kind of thing. And when you do either, you get a voter ID automatically. That's like.
There's people that are 65 years old that are still productive members
of course there are.
Have their wits about them.
Of course there are.
You shouldn't age out. You should mental capacity age out. It should be up to your physician, not some arbitrary government agency.
Exactly. That's the whole problem right there. Like you just that was so offensive and un-American to me to say that you give someone a right and then take it back away from them once they've hit a certain age. It's like I'm
sorry, no 16-year-old needs to be freaking voting.
No,
or
that's
18,
ridiculous.
They don't even know
That's ridiculous. That's the silliest thing I ever heard of in my life. I'm still 16 years old. I shouldn't be voting. Mentally, I'm still 16, like about 43% of the time. I know what 16. I've had 16-year-olds.
I'm a little longer than that, but I'm not my age.
And it just. Then it'll be 15, then it'll be 14, and whatever. Stop it. Stop your shit. Just stop your bullshit. Nobody's gonna vote when they're 16. You're just. I don't even know what you're doing when you're 16, but you certainly don't know enough to vote. You need to go out there. This is why I said 30, and not like 21 or like an incremental increase like they did with the drinking age, which is fine. That was the right thing to do, probably. It fucked me up a lot, but that's a whole nother hour. Yes, you need to get out in life. You need to rack up some bills that you can't pay. You need to have doctors who you can't pay their bills calling your house and fucking you over. You need to have an insurance company screw you. You need to get fired without cause unjustly from a few jobs. You need to get jacked by your government on any function that they do, be it taxes, be it money owed for whatever. You need to get fucked by your government and not get what you were promised. You need to have all that stuff happen to you. You need to get married maybe and have a divorce before, I don't know, maybe not the divorce part, but whatever. Like, you need to have a little life under your belt before you get to decide who's going to make the laws in this country, who's going to be the face of this country, who's going to be the leader of the free world and represent America's interest and sovereignty internationally. I don't want to hear about your Xbox game. And this guy did this, and then this monster came out from out of here, and then we shot. I don't want to hear about fucking Pokemon Go. You idiots were running around in the streets getting hit by cars, chasing imaginary little fucking cyber creatures a couple of summers ago. You're not any way fit to fucking vote. And some of you 27-year-olds that were doing that shouldn't vote either. You fucking dopes.
You need to be someone that wants to have a decent life. You want to work. You want to be able to pay for things you want to have. And in this environment, you can't. Then you should vote.
Somebody threw back at me, well, you can go into the military when you're 18. I'm like, exactly. And you should go into the military and get a little of that. Fucking do push-ups in mud at 4 o'clock in the morning. Okay, get screamed at by like a drill sergeant. And maybe even go into combat or whatever. Or go down to the border and help Mexicans come into the country. And get a little of that stink in your life. That whole thing. And yes, a couple of years of that is going to do you very well by the time you get to age 30 and are a legal voter in the United States. That's somebody I want voting. Yes, you can go into the military when you're 18. But you can't vote, learn from the military, and achieve voter status through the things you learn there. Am I getting too far out of control here?
30 is a little high, but I would get 22, 24, 25.
I said I'd negotiate down to 25. I still think that's pushing it a little bit. And both my sons, Kevin's 25 and Justin, I think Kevin's 25 and Justin's 23. So neither one of them would be, well, no, neither one of them would be allowed. No, they'll be able to vote next year. Kevin would. I don't know, 25.
Do you think your sons are competent to vote and make a good decision?
Well, they are. I think they are. And you know what? I guess, like, when I say it that way, it kind of contradicts what I said about eliminating people out of hand at the other end of it. Because, like, I'll just take Kevin for instance.
I think you should be able to pass a test to be able to vote.
You never get that. Well, listen, like, what I'm about to say, like, none of this would ever happen. And I was about to say you'd never get that to happen, but you would never get that to happen. But it's like folly to think any of this could happen. The driving thing should. That's something everybody should be behind. And I'm sorry, I mean no offense to anyone, but I've seen it from the passenger seat of cars of 80-year-old women who are trying to learn how to drive. They have to do something about that. It's amazing more people don't get killed by that. It's amazing I haven't been killed. I've been hit by cars twice. Walking to work in Scarsdale in the exact same spot. I got hit by a car 2 times in like a 2-month period. I just cursed the guy out. One was a Japanese lady, which I let her have it a little bit, and then another one was a little brown guy, and I let him have it pretty good too. It's not fun getting hit by a car. I didn't get killed or anything.
Well, I take care of a 92-year-old woman, and she's half simple, but she still thinks that she's going to be able to drive again, and her simple daughter thinks that, well, she should be able to drive around the block or so.
Why?
This woman can't walk down the hall with her walker without hitting the wall and knocking the cat ball over. You know?
Yeah. You know, it's another thing. I shouldn't be talking about that at all because I haven't driven a car in like 20 years. I haven't been behind the wheel of a car in probably 18 or 20 years.
Wow. So you have never experienced driving through a roundabout?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's
absolutely.
Funny.
No, I've done that.
Because some people are petrified of trying it. Some people, they'll drive blocks and blocks out of their way to avoid having to go through a roundabout.
They're afraid they're going to get trapped in it and not be able to get out.
A half a mile from my house that I got to go through to go to work. And people on going around the outside have to yield for the people that are going through the roundabout. You know how many times I've almost been T-boned.
Oh, all the time.
It's just the thing is, like, I think people are scared they'll get in and not be able to get back out. I think that's what scares most people. And the thing about it, though, you just go around again. Like, you keep getting tries. You can take 100 tries if you need.
You can go around. You can go around 2 or 3 times if you want.
Drive around that thing all day until your freaking tires wear out funny.
That's right.
People get scared of bridges, too. Like, I never got that. I love driving over bridges. But people are scared of bridges.
Yeah.
There's only one bridge I'm scared of, and it's up here. It's the, I guess it's the Bear Mountain Bridge. It's not the Mid-Hudson Bridge. The Bear Mountain Bridge. It goes from, like, Poughkeepsie across over, like, to West Point. Or into Bear Mountain, which is adjacent to West Point. Yo, that bridge is like 300 feet high. It's like the highest bridge I've ever been on in my life. It's not even long. It's only like maybe like 150 yards long, but it's so high, it's crazy. Like that one makes me a little nervous.
The Chesapeake over to Norfolk.
Oh, I've done that.
Under the water.
I've done that a bunch of times. I love that. I love taking that ride. Stopping out in the middle.
It doesn't bother me a bit.
I like that a hell of a lot more than driving 3 hours around the Chesapeake Bay. That's for sure. I always like taking that ride. My sister used to live down in Virginia Beach, and we go down now. I love going over that bridge. Probably costs like $100 now, right? Anybody?
Oh, I never had to pay to go under the water there. That was
No, but the whole bridge.
I've been down there for about 10 years.
The Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel. It's like it starts off as a bridge, and it goes a couple miles out into the Chesapeake Bay. Then it goes down under the water, and it's a tunnel for like a mile or two. So that way they have clearance for big ships passing in and out. Then it pops back up in the water again, and you go another couple miles. Then it goes down again for the other channel, and you go underwater for a mile, and you come back up. So the whole thing's like 19 miles long or something like that. And it was
I
like,
never remember going down twice. Whenever I would go to Myrtle Beach, we went under once, but we never had to pay.
oh yeah, no, this is a different bridge then. This is the Chesapeake Bay.
Okay.
The Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel. It's like 19 miles long. And the last time I went was probably in maybe around 2000. No, before that, in mid-90s. And it was like $18 to cross this thing then, which was a lot. But that's a great
I was
ride.
there in the early 2000s, and whatever I went through was free.
They got like a rest area.
It was freaking, and it was like, oh, shut the...
Yeah, they got like a rest area out in the middle of it. When it goes under the water, and it comes back up, and it's the bridge. And the bridge in the middle, they got a huge rest area with like restaurants, like, I don't know, I had like one or two, maybe like more like a snack bar. But you could stop there and stand out in the middle of the Chesapeake Bay and like have a hot dog and take pictures and stuff, which I'd take about 100 pictures. And then just keep on going. Yeah, that's like a cool little day trip. Why not walk it one day? I bet I could walk that in one day. Nah, I never
Can I
could.
put the subject?
What's that?
Can I change the subject completely? I hate to do this. If you don't want to change it, I'm fine.
No, go ahead. What do you got?
I'm going to sit out here on my deck, and last night I got eaten up by mosquitoes.
Yeah.
So I sprayed myself all over tonight with Cutter bug spray, and my goddamn lips are numb. It's almost like I feel like Hunter Biden that just snorted a couple big ass lines like
Cool.
during the fireworks.
Awesome.
Should I be worried, or should I be more worried about my toxic water that the EPA didn't care about?
I'd be more worried about the water than the bug spray. I mean, I wouldn't like drink the bug spray, but in normal application of the bug spray as opposed to normal application of water, I think I'd be more concerned about the water. Personally, unless you're a fucking mosquito, in which case you're probably fucked if somebody sprays mosquito spray on you. Unless you're a badass and you develop a tolerance.
I don't think I ever did it, but I think I have had it on my hands and wiped my lips a couple times. And
What
I
is that
figure I'll
stuff like? Anyway,
survive. I've done this many, many times. But this shit that came out about the EPA and the water, is that not ridiculous that there's been toxic chemicals in the water forever in half of America? Come on now.
I just started seeing a couple of articles about that maybe like an hour or two ago, so I didn't really look into it too much. And I know it's been like, obviously, the nightmare they had out in Detroit, where, I mean, that's just appalling the way that got let go as far as it did. But you have to wonder, like, where else is that going on that people just don't even know it? I have no trouble. I have no problem drinking the tap water. Only thing I drink here is coffee. So I'll get the tap water, put it through the coffee pot. And by the time you boil it, there's not going to be anything like, well, I don't know, I guess there's still theoretically could be some awful shit in it. But, we all drank tap water. We drank out of garden hoses when we were kids. All right, fine. I guess it's different now. You got a hell of a lot more people, which we don't need at all. And they're just contributing a lot more chemistry to the environment in whatever form it may be. Like, fine, you drive, like more and more cars drive every day. That causes a lot of carbon runoff and a lot of just nasty, shitty runoff from the highways that works its way into the watershed. And so I guess, in theory, that could affect the water a lot and make it worse now than when we were kids. But I don't know. Like I guess I should. I paying $3 for a fucking bottle of water is just almost as appalling as the water in Detroit. And you just think about it, like, fine, like you measure like the pharmaceutical industry with that lens, and you say, look at this, like, fine, like your, or whatever you want to, just like even your bug spray, like they're making this thing. The pharmaceutical industry is a better example. They're doing something that's good and that we all need and blah blah blah, but somebody's making a shit pile of money off of it, and we all just lived through this shit over the last few years, where it's clear that Pfizer was profiteering and Moderna was profiteering, and so on and so on and so on. That was like the first one that made me take notice. So like, some fucking guy can stand in his backyard with a hose, fill up these plastic bottles, put a label on them, and sell them for $1 back at the time that I could have got out of the tap. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, somebody's going to make a lot of money off this shit. Look at the Pet Rock. Like, people will fucking buy anything. I think it was more mental that people converted to bottled water. It was just a fear, that basic fear that you get, and the media propagating it, and your politicians telling you stuff. And like, I don't know, and we're probably nuts. Like, again, like, it's the standing rule. It should be a law to not listen to me, because I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But it seems like they scare you about everything more than you need to be scared. That's all. That's all I'm saying about tap water. Fucking tap water is a topic of conversation.
One is, the EPA was established, 50-some years ago.
Jimmy Carter, I think.
Their job is to watch over the water, the whatever. They regulate every bit of our lives. You can't even build a house within 150 feet of a crack in the ground.
No kidding.
Run water. But now they're coming out and admitting, oh, well, the water might have this and this and tap water. Well, I drink my tap water. I also drink a lot of bottled water and stuff. But if they're to be believed, which I don't know, what the fuck is the EPA?
What you cut off? What was the last thing you said?
Yeah, I think she got cut off. She's connecting back up.
Okay.
But yeah, what she's saying is like, what has the EPA been doing all these years?
Watching. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
it doesn't seem like they've been fixing anything.
The water at all. If it's like, if now all of a sudden all these bad things are in it, what have they been doing?
It's the same bullshit as like with climate change. You're not, the hubris involved in thinking that you're going to change billions of years of natural effect on the planet from the gravitational pull of the sun and the lightning and darkening and moving closer to it and farther away from it. You move a mile closer to the sun, you're going to melt. You move a mile further away, you're going to have 6 mile thick ice. That shit happens in increments. You're not going to notice it in your lifetime. You're not going to notice it in your 2000, in your millennium. You're not going to notice that. But you're not going to, even more so, you're not going to change anything by taking trillions of people's money and throwing it at these silly projects that nobody's even going to see any result of. You're just not.
Well, my problem is with it, they're supposed to be watching the water supply in this country. So if they're going to scare us now into buying bottled water, what's going to happen to all these plastic bottles? Where are they going to go?
How about COVID masks?
It's contradictory.
Where's all the COVID masks? That's made out of polypropylene or polypropylene or whatever. That's got all that shit in it that never biodegrades. What happened to them? Remember when I took the pictures on the Bronx River off the train?
Exactly.
It was like a fucking apple orchard. That was like an apple orchard with COVID masks.
It's like they try to solve one problem and they create another problem.
Well, it's like they just want to tell us this, and this, and worry about this, buy bottled water, but watch your straws, don't have straws here. And it makes no sense what they're doing. And then, has anybody seen about these wind turbines off the Jersey Shore? They're talking about building 128 of these wind turbines.
And they're killing whales.
This year, it's the whales that have washed up dead on the beach is up 164%. So where the hell is the environmental protection on that? Because there's big money involved in this, and they're going to build these damn wind turbines, and the hell with the whales, you know?
Those things are so big. Yeah, I had no idea like how huge they are. They say like the single blade, one blade is like the length of a football field. So that thing's got to be like twice that size, I would imagine. And then, like, I don't know how deep the water is they put them in, but they got to go down to the bottom, obviously, too. Those things are
That is
huge.
one hell of an engineering feat to actually sink that into the bottom of the ocean, stabilize it, and put that thing up through the water and into the air that big.
I'm guessing
That's
it can't
an
be too
endeavor,
deep.
and I guess they have approved 3 of these along the East Coast because this is part of Biden's objective of going green by 2030, and the only thing they're going to do is supply 500,000 people with energy along the coast.
That's nothing.
So we're going to kill all this sea life and the bird life and everything else for this.
Yeah, and for 500,000 people, that's nothing. That's nothing. That's like the bottom quarter of Manhattan. That, if even that. Wow. And listen.
It has nothing to do with providing energy to 500,000 people. It's all about the money going to these companies that are building these things. It's all kickbacks. It's all laundering money. And that's all it is. Our government is so corrupt, it's just ridiculous.
The other thing that they're just trying, it seems like they're trying to ignore, and it's the real crux of the problem, is the fact that listen, I'm not an ichthyologist. I'm not a marine biologist. I'm not even a licensed diver, for crying out loud. But I spent a whole life on boats, and I kind of know how it works out there. And I've studied a little bit of marine biology and things like that, just for my own personal interest. Like I like learning things, so I know a little. And I know enough to know that 100% the vibrations from a wind turbine like that, are going to cause disturbance in the water. And animals like seals and porpoises depend on magnetic fields and things like that, and their senses and their physiology is attuned toward depending on vibration as a part of their existence. Echolocating, like just finding food, finding migration, things like that. When you disturb that, it fucks them up and they beach themselves. So when you put 120 of them in a wind turbine farm and amplify that by the vibration that those things, it must be like a whale swimming through there must be like somebody walking through a crowd of like 10,000 people just yelling at them. How disorienting that might be. How must be. That's what that's got to be like for an animal who's dependent upon like things like magnetic fields and vibrations and echolocating and things like that to communicate and swim around and locate food. Sharks, the same thing. That's all like vibrations. They pick that up through all kinds of nerves in their nose. And the ampulla, they call it the ampullae of Lorenzini. It's a little pit in their heads that has a fluid in it. That is like the central.
How many times has the EPA got
it's getting late.
Wanted to build something or do this, and some little fucking shrimp or amoeba or something might be compromised, so you can't do this or that on your property.
Yeah.
But they're going to do this off.
All right, so it's about 9 o'clock, guys. Great night, everybody. It's been a lot of fun, and I forgot all about my foot for a little while, so that's good. And I don't know what we're doing this weekend. Linda, what do you got planned for this weekend?
I don't have too much planned. I mean, I'm going to be golfing at some point if the weather cooperates. But yeah, I got no other plans.
I got to go to the driving range. I haven't been to the driving range in years. I'm going to come out to Wisconsin and play golf with you. Could we do that?
Yeah.
Could we do that? I used to be pretty good. I used to play a lot. I used to play almost every day. I told you that story, right? Like, I used to work on a night crew at a supermarket here called Pathmark. And a couple of guys, like, we would get out of work at 7:30 in the morning and just go home and take a shower and then just go play golf all day, like almost every day. We used to do that a lot, so that'd be fun. But I don't have anything specific in mind this weekend, but I plan on being real active on the page. Because like I said first thing this morning, we got to reclaim the weekend. I think that's an important thing. Because we got so lost for the last 2 weekends. At least I did anyway. I feel like I got to reclaim the weekend, so I'm going to emphatically have a weekend this weekend. And I'm a little hobbled, and I don't even know what it's going to be like tomorrow. I'm telling you right now, Linda, you tell me, what's the first thing I'm doing tomorrow morning after I get out of the house? I know you know.
You're going to McDonald's.
You got it.
Have a big breakfast with
Thank you. I'm trying to. Let's just say that for now, so we don't set our expectations too high. I will be attempting for the third consecutive day to go to McDonald's somewhere and get myself a big breakfast with hotcakes. They're probably going to be out of hotcakes or some shit like that too. But that's on the list. Even with this fucking ankle, I'm still going to go do that. Relentlessly. So that's the big plan for the weekend. We got a lot of other stuff to do too.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I gotta tell you this, just in case you are planning a trip to the Chesapeake Bay Tunnel Bridge.
Yeah.
Susan Fear Thompson says the toll is $20 with Easy Pass.
Really? I would have thought it'd been a lot more than that by now. Wow, that's not too bad. It was almost that then, like 20 years ago. It was almost, I think it was like $17.95 or something like that.
Yeah.
Next Wednesday, 7 Texas reminded me.
Easy Pass. So maybe if you're just doing a one-shot deal, maybe then it's a little bit more.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
You have to, they charge it by per person, like at the drive-in movie.
Yeah, maybe.
Like when everybody go hide in the trunk.
Yeah.
All right, so that's about that. I think we might have the Bronx Zoo next week. Oh, axe throwing. Listen, we figured axe throwing out. I didn't mean to be vague about that during the week. It just, when we had dinner last week, Justin was like, you want to go bowling one day? I was like, I absolutely want to go bowling one day. What a great idea. That'd be a lot of fun, and we'll put the fucking camera on, and that'll be even more fun. So, all right, fine. So, there's Carmel Bowl, which is the next town over. That's where Eric Holt the Bolt lives in Carmel, or used to live in Carmel, New York. They got a bowling alley there. So I'm like, all right, fine, we're going to do this maybe next week. I'm going to go check it out, look it up. So I went on their website, and they got fucking axe throwing. Like, they got 6 lanes of indoor axe throwing and 2 lanes of outdoor axe throwing, which I don't know what the distinction between the two is. Maybe it's a little longer. Linda, you had that question earlier. I think I just lost Spaces. Hang on a second. Can you hear me on Spaces?
No, you're here yet.
All right, because the screen went off. What was I just saying? Oh, about the question about how far you throw it. I have no idea, and it doesn't matter if it's 100 yards. I'm still going axe throwing. Like, how do you not go axe throwing? And I didn't say anything to Justin. That's why I was like not definitely planning it for last night, because I figured it might be a good idea for us to discuss this first. And it's not that expensive either. It's only $20. It's $20 for a half hour, and it don't say anything about a limit on axes. So I guess you get to throw as many axes as you want. As far as like throwing more than one at a time, like I don't know if there's that sort of option or anything like that. Whatever. But I told him about it last night, and he had no idea. Like, he knew about the bowling alley, but he didn't know they had axe throwing. So we're looking at maybe next week for axe throwing, and that's for sure gonna end up a video on Substack. Absolutely.
Excellent.
Absolutely. Excellent. Excellent. It's
now
absolutely.
on Spaces.
What's that now? I'm off Spaces now? Yeah, I told you. You know what happened too? I fucked around with my phone case and jacked it up. I can still hear you.
Yeah.
I'm coming back.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right, yeah, there I am. Oh, where'd everybody go? All right, well, I did start saying goodnight. All right, so yeah, like goodnight. 54, we've done almost an hour. And I got to run back out to the store and get something to drink because I'm all dry and I forgot to get something. So I am going to bid everyone a fair adieu for the evening and get some rest tonight. And I don't have any music to play for you. Maybe Linda will sing. Linda, well, no, you know what? We don't even need to talk about who's doing what on Facebook this weekend because I got that pretty much all figured out now. And we'll talk about it.
We're just freewheeling it.
Yeah, it's all going good. It's all going good. So, one last thing I will ask is anybody out there, which is nobody really except people who are already subscribed, and I thank you and love you all. But if anybody's sneaking around out there listening that is not subscribed yet, please go to pcsnation.substack.com and get subscribed. I'm trying real hard to get this thing going, guys. I really need your help. So if you got a friend, if you got an enemy who you want to piss off, I can't wait to get somebody in here, especially on Twitter Spaces, that's like a foe. That's like an enemy that says, you know what? This motherfucker who just cursed me out and told me I was an asshole on Twitter for some shit I said about how great Joe Biden was. He's doing it. He's doing a Twitter Spaces tonight. Fuck him. I'm going on his Twitter Spaces and I'm going to fucking straighten him right out. I can't wait for that night. It'll be glorious. That'll be awesome, won't it?
That would be awesome.
I think we should try and actively recruit. I'm going to make it a point this weekend to annoy somebody into coming on a Spaces on Twitter. I think that's going to be my Twitter mission. Twitter's been going good, too. Twitter's been popping lately. Getting a lot of traffic, we'll see, which is a good thing. Kind of makes up for the fucking no traffic at all on Facebook. But that's neither here nor there. And I'm into that ramble stage now where if somebody doesn't stop me, I'm just going to keep going for another half hour. So I will say good night. I love you guys. I thank you for your support. Have a great rest of your evening. Probably got a few more posts to put up. And unless Linda has anything to add, we're out of here.
We're out of here.
We're out of here. Have a great night, everybody. Gone.